Well, this is the first time I have filmed since Arizona. We're back in the garage and it's Muroc time again. You'll see the 413 coupe up top. We may get that out to drive today, but today it's an early morning. We're gonna try to get the Muroc. The shocks all replaced, so I got the jack out. We're probably gonna use Scott Lorenzini's tires as a camera stand maybe, but we are going to put the brand new shocks. So Kugel hooked us up, sent us brand new shocks out, a different spring rate on the rear from the first ones that were set out. So they're QA ones, different spring rate, so it was sitting up a little high. And then the fronts are a different setup as well because the top cone wasn't tapered. It was more flat, so it wouldn't fit with the frame rail. So the fronts never did get replaced. So these are going to go on the Kugel Muroc. We got to get this up in the air. We'll do a corner at a time. We're gonna get it up. So that's all in today's video. If you would like to see us changing shocks, we don't like to work on cars too much, but we are gonna do that today. Usually it's easier for us just to take it somewhere else because my back will be hurting by the end of the day, so. But it's all in today's video. If you like watching us work in the garage, this is today's project. We did pick up a Mercedes, I think it's a 2005 Mercedes SL 500. This could be for sale for anyone that is interested. Got it all super slick and buffed this week, so got it all detailed. It is a convertible hardtop, all leather, all done up, all detailed. But it's got a little over 31,000 miles on this, original miles. So tires are in perfect shape. All the wheels are perfect. So just a real nice Mercedes SL 500. We'll either use this as a periodic driver, a second vehicle this summer, or it is for sale. So yeah. And then, well, I won't share other big news yet. You'll have to stay tuned for other potential very big news from our garage, maybe in the coming week. So stay tuned for that if something actually happens. I'll leave it at that. So we'll leave it at that. But let's start working on the Kugel. Here we go. Toughest thing about jacking this up is getting it in the right spot. You can't really go under the front end, so it's trying to get it on the spring rail without messing it up more. So let me look at this. Do one corner at a time. So, I haven't done this in a while. It's not as fun. This is the third time that these shocks have been in and out. And second time I've taken them out. So, no, third time. So this is my third time on the rear shock. So, I just don't enjoy it. But, that's why I pay other people to do this stuff. I just want to hop in and drive. You know, I used to do this stuff when I was a lot younger, but I started learning, we're gonna share more of this on our channel. I started learning a long time ago that my time became worth more money and that it was easier for me just to go work, not kill myself and pay someone else to do this stuff for me. But periodically, you know what? It's just easier for me to do it. And it is fun sometimes, but I don't know. Let's start working. So we got the bottom bolt off. Gotta get the top of the shock loose. Something with this car too, you don't want to scratch everything underneath, so it's a little bit more delicate. Gonna raise it up a little bit, try to get it loose where everything slides out. It's like there's a position where it wants to come out easier. So that bolt is straight, there it is. Okay, got one out. So these are CF Designs. If you watched our video when we were going out to Arizona, we stole the shocks. These are the original springs that were on the car. 25 years old, so these are gonna go back to Kugel now. But these shocks were Chris's at CF Designs. We stole these, so I gotta take these off and get them back to Chris. Thanks, Chris, for letting us use your old shocks to at least be able to drive the car in Arizona. So we got one out. Let's get the new one over here. I'm gonna put them side by side and let's see how they look side by side. So let me do that. Let's check out the height. Yeah, overall, look to be pretty much the same height. So I think we're good there. And it looks to be a little bit lower, a smaller spring on here. So we'll see how this fits. And then Kugel sent these for each end that will kind of, I'll show you here on the camera, that slide on to kind of protect these. So these go on the end. So I got to figure out that the top is easy. It has a rubber mount. But yeah, let's figure this out. Okay, well, we got one shock in, and the little spacers that I told you we were gonna use, I'll show you up close here. These little spacers in between the bolt and kind of on the inside of the shock really didn't fit because they were just kind of sliding up and they weren't solid in there. So I took these out. I'm gonna call Kugel just to make sure, because really they serve no purpose if they're just sliding around and they're not all contact and tight in there. So let's lower it. Let's see how high this thing sits. Now obviously it's gonna settle a little bit, but it's all the way down now. So time to lower the one side. Let's see if it changes it. Looks like it's jacked up to me. It looks high. Yeah. We'll see how this plays out. We'll get the other one swapped and see if it settles at all. We may have to take it for a ride and see, but there's a big gap in the side. I'm gonna look at the other side and see what we find. There you go. Yeah. It's about the same right now, but again, it may settle once we drive, so we'll see how the other side is. Okay, on to the next. Okay, got the second one in. I gotta lower it. One busted knuckle, 2 shocks. We're ready to lower that one, so yeah, that's another reason. I tend to hurt myself. So let's lower this. Let's see how it looks. Real close. It's real close to where it was with the other shocks that we had set up. Not the new QA ones. These are the new ones, but the first set. So I think it'll settle a little bit. So I'm gonna look from the side. I'll let you look from the side here as well. And let's see what we think. So, not too bad. I think that's pretty close to where it was. We want a little bit of a gap, so if we hit something, we're not coming up and hitting inside here, but measurements here, it's about the same as where we had it set up. So I think it'll settle a little bit more. Now we got to move to the front, and the fronts, what we had to change on the other shock, see how this has kind of a tapered top hat to it, or cone. The other set that was sent to us did not have this, so I'm hoping that the new set is tapered enough, because you can see an inner frame here on this cross member type thing on the front. It is very tight, so I'm hoping that the new one is tapered enough like this to be able to do the same thing. So let's move to the front. We're going to look at the front shock and see how tapered it is here as well. So it's pretty close. It's going to be interesting. Let's see if it's, I think the fronts are pretty short here too, so these may actually be a little taller. So this could be interesting. Hopefully, I'm gonna measure before we start tearing apart, see how tall these shocks are versus the new ones. So let's do a little measurement. Well, I have one of the fronts on. The rears are definitely much easier to put on than the fronts, because it's just tougher and I haven't done them. But looking at, we'll show you one side and we'll show you the other. So this side, you'll see it's very tight up here against the frame. There is some space, but I have some more room down here on the independent suspension, whereas this one is all the way down. So I may have to raise it. I don't know, because it looks like I just have a fraction of an inch, just a hair gap in between here. So I may need to use a spanner wrench and raise this up so I have more clearance at the bottom. But I'm afraid that if I do that, then the front end of the car comes up a lot more, and I like a rake. So I may have to get that up just a quarter of an inch to give me some more clearance here. So we'll see how that goes. I think what I'm gonna do is put the other one on first, see how it sits, and then if I need to make an adjustment here. But I do have clearance on that. So step one, we got 3 of them on, and on to the 4th. Got to go to the 4th one here now and see how this thing sits, but then we'll dial in the back. I think I'll probably start in the middle and then just work my way up and down and try to adjust. Jeff at Kugel said a good way to adjust these, or maybe go over a consistent road, maybe even railroad tracks if I have something like that around here, and feel how it feels, and then go over them again. Instead of doing one at a time, maybe make 4 or 5 adjustments, see how drastic, and then I can always back it up from there. So last shock, here we come. Okay, this one was much easier. I got it in a sweet spot here where this one just kind of slid out compared to the right one, or the left side. So I got it nice and balanced where everything it was awesome. So we got the old shock off, and it was actually a little loose. So we're going to put the new one on here now, and let's see how it goes. We'll slide this one in and show you the finished product. And we also figured out, remember these pieces we said we thought was going to go on the rear, they actually go on the front shocks in between, so on each side. So it is to fill the space, in the shock mount. So we'll kind of show you on this side. So in between, you'll see on each end, that's where we put these little circles to fill that gap. So it has these on the top. So the tops of these go there, and then the bottoms fit in here as well. The bottoms are a little tougher to squeeze in the lower shock mount, but we were able to finagle it with a screwdriver and kind of pushing it up there and to bolt through. So let's see how how this works. Second time usually is a little faster here, but figuring it all out is the toughest thing. Well, we got it all done. Got the rear, got the fronts on. The left side was, I thought, a little tougher, but the top one on the right side went a little easier, and the toughest part was probably fitting those little kind of bushings in between to fill the space because it was so tight. So getting all that up in there. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to take it for a short spin. I'm all dirty, so I put towels on the seats. We're going to take it for a short spin, see how it rides, and maybe check the bolts, and then if we need to adjust. But we have a baseball game today with my boys, so we can't be out too long. But let's get the garage door up, let's get it out on the road. And this is the first time we've really driven it since Arizona, so it's been several weeks, and I'm really excited. So it's a nice day here today, a little chilly, but let's see how this thing rides and then service it, check the bolts. So here we go. Man, this thing looks good out in the sun. I think the rear is already settled a little bit. I think the rear is a pretty good gap. So the rear isn't bad. Front, I think, needs to settle a little bit more. We raised it up just a hair, so we have a little bit bigger gap in the front here with the coilover, so it's not going to rub. So we raised it up maybe 1/4 of an inch, which it's still buried in the front when you look at it. So my foot doesn't fit under the front, so it's already tight, but let's go for a little ride. Put my towels on the seat. I'm all dirty. We're about empty on gas, so I think what we're gonna do is just drive out to a gas station, put a little fuel, and we'll drive around the block. Oh, already feels different. Feels a lot different. Wow. If you've never had a car with an independent suspension like this, it is a night and day difference compared to the straight axle cars that we've had in the past. So there's a big difference in ride quality. I'm sure it can be dialed in a little bit more. We may play with the back shocks just to dial them in, but feels pretty good so far. I haven't hit any bad bumps, so let's see how that feels. Not bad, not too bouncy. We're just going to continue to play with these and get them all dialed in. The best things about buying this car, I know some people are like, it's not a hot rod and this and that, but that's totally okay. The older I get, the more comfort I am wanting. My back is not the best, so turning the key and just hopping in and driving and not being too uncomfortable is really what I'm starting to go for more and more with each car. So let's get on it. like today's episode, again, just something easy. We wanted to share a day in the life, working on the cars a little bit. Thanks to all the shops that do help us out with other things, but we figured this would just be fun today. I guess it's fun to do that, but it's more fun because we didn't want to wait for someone else to do it and just get the shocks done so we can start enjoying driving this car here back in Ohio. So until next episode, if you like today's video, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. Hit that like, subscribe button. Help us to get to 10,000. That's our next goal. And by all means, check out our website, oppusingcylinders.com, where we have well over 130 vehicles for sale and growing each and every day. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the road in the next episode.